Okay, so it's 12:02. I believe that this is going to be it for today. So let's just go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Introduction to the Medical Center Library. It's also known as Time-Saving Tips and Tricks. So today we're going to cover some services offered by the library, some of our cool databases, and then some secret things you may not know that you have access to via the libraries. So I'm going to, I think, yes, I'm going to actually leave my camera on for this. So I'm going to hide myself though. Okay. So like I said, welcome. My name is Kayla Robinson. I am one of the health sciences librarians, but I'm also the public health librarian. If you have any questions while we're doing this, go ahead and drop it in the chat. This also won't take the full hour, so if you have any questions, please feel free to either hold them till the end or just ask them, but we'll probably get out of here around 12:30, so if you need anything, just let me know. Okay, so first things first, I like to start with talking about our services and then kind of showing you the tools and resources we've created that brings this all together. So the first thing is that all librarians do consults. So those are one-on-one. Oh, and I have a typo in here. Actually, I'm noticing, of course. So we do one-on-one consultations or group consultations, and that can be about anything that a person needs. So it can be consulting on a research project, helping with searching, basic or advanced searching, showing someone how to use databases, showing someone how to use the library resources, things like that. Even looking at scholarly communication, things like tracking publications and things like that. So we do all kinds of consultations, and we have a consult form that we use. So if you would like to request one, you can go ahead and do that. And then additionally, we do educational or instructional sessions. So those are usually to classes or larger groups, which isn't much different from a consult. It's just a larger group setting, usually for some type of coursework. So that can be on any number of things. The most common ones are EndNote help. So we'll teach a class how to download and set up EndNote. Basic and advanced searching. So either basic or advanced searching. Sometimes that can be in multiple sessions. We can instruct on systematic review methodologies. And then we also do things like introduction to library services, kind of like I'm doing right now. And then we also do evidence-based concepts. So PICO searching, evidence appraisal, things like that. We can teach on all of this to a class, or even just have this be a consult as well. Next, we also do specialty or course guides, which I will show you in a second. But if you have a class and you want it to kind of have like a hub of information that may not be in your Canvas course, you can contact us and we'll load a bunch of library materials and resources into specific guides that students or faculty or staff can then use to refer to later. We also have a systematic and scoping review service, which there are links to requesting help with those that will drop later, but we do help with the methodology and searching of those. So if you're working on one, we always recommend you talk to a librarian, and that's a service that we offer. And then the last two, so research collaboration is kind of hand in hand with systematic and scoping reviews, but that's not the only research that we can help with. We can talk about research methodologies, data management, things like that, just anything to do with research. And then finally, like I said, we can do EndNote help and guidance. So that can be in a consult, that can be in an educational session, but we can help you troubleshoot and or set up your EndNote. Okay, so with that being said, let's look at some of our things. So if you have never seen this before, this is the medical, piece by piece, but this is the Medical Center Library website. So it's a sub-site of the main UK Libraries homepage. And we have a few things to highlight here. So on the far right, we have just the top bar, what you see first when you log in. So it says Medical Center Library. It has our daily hours and then our top resources. So those are databases, research guides, journals, this research workshop series, and then the Ask Medical Librarian button. You scroll down, and then on the upper left-hand side, you have our highlights. So it has information on the colleges we support. So it's pharmacy, medicine, nursing, dentistry, health sciences, public health, and then more recently, cafe, agriculture, food, and environment. Next, we have study spaces and things like that. If you want to come visit us, we have floor maps, the address, the phone number. If you fax, we have the fax machine, and then our McLib MCL IB reference email, where it's a really good place to send more generic requests. And then you may just end up talking to anyone in the library, which is always fun. Then finally, on this page, kind of like I mentioned on our services page, we have some links for you to request meeting with us or request teaching services. So on the bottom left, you have the literature searching request button. This is usually, anyone can submit this form. Students, faculty, staff, any employee, any student can submit this form. However, depending on where you're at in your schooling, so if you're submitting a literature request for a paper or for a poster presentation as a student, we won't do it for you. We will teach you how to do a literature search because we think that's more valuable than just doing it for you. However, if you're faculty, staff, and employee, and you just need a few articles for whatever, you can request a literature search and we'll send those articles to you. Next is our teaching support button, teaching support option. So if you want us to come speak to your class or come speak to a few of your students or speak to a few of your employees, we can do that as well. You can select this option and fill out a form, or you can just email your librarian individually if that's something you're interested in. And then finally, on the bottom middle, we have our systematic reviews consult form that we will need you to fill out if you're requesting our help with a systematic review. Most of the librarians who work on systematic reviews currently have a wait list, so it's really crucial that if you want our help with a systematic or scoping review, that you get that request in, and then we'll let you know timelines and things like that. So that's the homepage. There's a few things obviously that I'm missing here, but we'll get that a little bit later during a live demonstration. So now let's get into databases. We have access, and I could be wrong, so someone, if you know this, please correct me, but we have access to over 700 databases, I believe. Not all of them are going to be relevant to you as a healthcare practitioner, healthcare student, but here are some of the ones that are, and those are going to be on the Health Sciences Databases Top Resources link. So this is what you see when you click it. You have this getting started. We have databases by discipline. So if you're a public health practitioner, you can actually bookmark this public health button, and it will show you some best bets and other really useful resources that we have access to. But same goes for all of our 6 health colleges. So if you're a health sciences, physician assistant, resident, you can click these and then go and see some more targeted databases. But some of the ones that are relevant to everyone in the health colleges would be PubMed, which is one of, I'm not sure it's the largest biomedical database in the world anymore. Then you have Embase, which might be the largest biomedical database in the world. I'm not sure about that yet. CINAHL, which is Index of Nursing and Allied Health. PsycInfo, which is more psychological database. UpToDate and LexiComp are point of care tools. UpToDate is for more like clinical decision making, and LexiComp is usually used for like drug interactions and things like that. Then we have Web of Science Core Collection, which is a multidisciplinary database. So I always recommend this to my public health people. This is a really good one for them. And then Scopus, which is really good for author metrics and things like that. So tons of really awesome databases. And if you ever need help learning how to search one or wanting to know which would be the best bet for your research, you can always reach out and have a consultation with the librarian. Okay. Next, so underneath the health sciences databases, we have health sciences research guides, and the pages kind of look the same, but inside we have different materials. So we have discipline focused guides for all 6 of the health sciences and the College of Agriculture. So if, like I said, you're a public health practitioner, dentist, resident, nurse, we have guides for you, and those are going to be discipline specific. Next, we have, if you scroll down on the page a little bit, we have research help guides. So I've highlighted a few of them. We have setting up accounts, managing citations using EndNote, and then of course, and obviously the research workshops page. But you can see we have guides for pretty much everything revolving around library related research. So if you're interested in publishing your research, the publishing your research guide is a really good place to go. Measuring your research impact is also really good if you're wanting to know, like, what's my H index and how do I find my author metrics and which databases should I use? That guide is perfect for that kind of question. And then finally, our systematic reviews for the Medical Center Library Guide, which we always refer people to, especially when they're filling out the systematic review consult form. So if you're beginning a systematic review or even just interested in starting one, we always recommend looking at this page. Has some really fantastic resources. And then, of course, if you have any questions about any of these guides, we have the Ask a Medical Librarian link on this page as well. So let's move on. I'm going to cover a couple of those LibGuides that I highlighted in the previous page. So EndNote is a citation management software, and it is licensed through the University of Kentucky, meaning that you get it for free, which is always lovely. And then we have librarians across campus who are really well versed in EndNote. So if you have any issues troubleshooting or want to know some information, please reach out to them. However, this library guide, this research guide, has everything you need to get started. So we have PDFs linking you out to show you how to download and set it up, how to make your preferences right, how to export articles from EndNote, well, from PubMed into EndNote, Web of Science, other databases like that. And then we have some information on using Cite While You Write, which is the Microsoft Word embed version of EndNote. So if you ever want to use EndNote, we always recommend starting here. And then if you need help with something really specific or need some troubleshooting, we have information on how to contact a librarian as well. And that's linked here. And excitingly enough, EndNote 21 just launched. So the librarians at the MCL spent some time updating all of our resources. But if you're still using an older version like EndNote 20, we have those linked as well. Okay. So next is the accounts to set up page. And this is kind of where the tips and tricks title for this demonstration came from. So the accounts to set up page is our kind of catch-all for some of the coolest things you can do at the library. I'm not going to cover everything on this page. If some of this stands out to you, though, please by any means go and check it out yourself and see how to set those things up. But we have about, I think it's eight different things here, and I'm going to go through some of them briefly. So UK Medical Center Library, ILL, is just UK Libraries Interlibrary Loan System. So when I go talk to people in classes and things like that, I always end up coughing during these things. Anyway, so the library interlibrary loan system is really fantastic, and I don't think it's a secret, but I think some people might say it's our best kept secret. So if you're affiliated with UK in any capacity, you have access to our interlibrary loan system. So as a UK person in any capacity, if you need an article and UK doesn't already have access to it, what you can do is fill out a form and they'll send it right to your email if they can access it. Really cool, really fantastic. You do have to set up an account if you're using it for the first time. So please make sure that when you're doing that, you select which college you're affiliated with, and that will help us just know how many of our people are submitting ILL requests. Next is Up to Date, which is, like I said, the point of care tool. It's really, really popular in our healthcare system. So if you'd like to get that on your phone specifically, we have information on how to use that and set it up and download it onto your phone. Next is LibKey Nomad, which I'm not going to cover too much on this slide because it has its own wonderful slide. But LibKey Nomad is a lifesaver if you're trying to find PDFs of articles. It will prevent you from having to click approximately 20 different times to find something. EndNote Click is the same thing. It's just a different vendor, so it will have a little bit different steps to setting it up. And if you're interested in having one or both, we always recommend getting at least one. ORCID ID is another thing that I'm not going to cover too much on this slide because it has its own information, same as Browzine, but the bottom two, the PubMed My NCBI account is really crucial if you do any searching in PubMed. It's going to show you how to set up an account, and it's going to have some really cool features like highlighting, collections, and search alerts, which I'm going to cover later. And then CINAHL account is pretty much the same thing. So if you use CINAHL primarily, you're going to want an account in that database as well. But okay, let's move on. So this is the LibKey Nomad slide I talked about. And LibKey Nomad is a browser extension that is only available in Chrome and Firefox. So if you're looking for a library resource and you want to be able to find that full text or that PDF quick, I always recommend downloading LibKey Nomad wherever you plan on doing a primary amount of research. So I would definitely recommend downloading this, and the instructions to do that are going to be on the accounts to set up LibGuide. And then ORCID. So some people say that saying ORCID ID is redundant, but ORCID is essentially just a unique identifier for researchers. So articles get a DOI, and researchers can get their ORCID ID. And it helps distinguish you. So if for some reason your name changes or you move institutions, that ID will follow you wherever you go or wherever you end up. And it will ensure that the articles that you wrote maybe as a student or in a different position at a different university follow you wherever you are. I always recommend people sign up for ORCID. It makes life super easy. And you can actually use ORCID to sign into your PubMed account, which is super helpful. So I always recommend people just get an ORCID and then use that to sign into different things. And also some journals and some like grant funding agencies require that you have an ORCID. So just always recommend getting one. It's really helpful. And then I added a little picture of my ORCID account, which just so happens to have my personal email on it, which is really funny. So I'm going to move on. Next, so this is also on the accounts to set up page, but it's where you see health sciences journals on the main page. Oh, so this is Browzine, and it's a database that hosts all of our journals, and it looks really nice and pretty. And specifically, there are biomedical and health sciences groups, genres of journals. So if you're a person who really enjoys reading the American Public Health Association journal, or the Journal of the American Public Health Association, you can actually get an account in Browzine on your phone and your laptop or an iPad, and then save that journal and then read articles through there. So I'm going to show you all in a minute what that looks like and how to like find articles through this. Browzine is great. I love Browzine, but it's not good if you're looking for new articles. So it's really good for what we call known item searching. So if you know the name of the journal, you know the article you want, and you know the year it was published, this is great. But this is not going to be very useful for discovering new articles. New journals, sure, absolutely. It helps you find those, but not new articles. So if you're doing a search for research and things like that, you're not going to want to do it here. Okay, and then this is not the last thing, I believe. Actually, this is the last thing before I show you all some other stuff, and then we'll do a little bit of a live demonstration, just kind of bringing together everything we talked about today. So one of the things that you can do with your PubMed account, your MyNCBI account, is create a search alert. So you have to be logged in, which is why I said make an ORCID account and then have your NCBI account linked to that. It's really easy. I'll show you how to log in a minute. But if you have a search and you have a topic that you're really, really interested in, and you want to know when any new research on this topic comes out, you can build a search in PubMed. So I just made a really simple one, COVID-19 and environmental justice. So anytime any articles come out that have these two topics in them, I will receive them on my email. To do that, you, like I said, have to create the search. And then you'll select this Create Alert button underneath the search bar right here. It will ask you to name it. So I just left the name as the search. You can edit the search terms in here, test things out if you want. I typically will just build the search and then edit it before I hit Create Alert, but to each their own. And then it asks, would you like email updates of new search results? You say yes, put in the email that is associated with your MyNCBI PubMed account, and then determine the frequency. So you can do monthly, weekly, daily, and then pick whichever day you want, depending on like the month or the week. So if you want to get articles on the first Monday of every month, you can set it up to do that. If you want to get articles every week on Tuesday, you can set it up to do that as well. And then you'll be able to manually turn that off in your MyNCB account later. But it will send new articles if they exist. And then happy reading. Number 6, enjoy. Okay, and then finally, this is the second to last link on the homepage, the research workshop series, but it's also its own library research guide. And then you probably saw this to get to this workshop in the first place. But one of the things that's really cool that we have is we've been doing this workshop now for over 3 years. This might be year 3 now. And we record every single session. So we have recordings on how to search Web of Science, systematic review, Q&A. I even think we have stuff on data visualization. So if you're curious about anything, we probably have a workshop on it already, and it's going to be hosted in this View Past Recordings page. That's why it's the only one with an exclamation point, because it's so exciting. And then, of course, here we are, August 24th. So all of our workshops for the upcoming semester will be in this calendar. But I think the real treasure here is our View Past Recordings page. And then finally, I worked really hard on this. There are a few librarians in here, so I hope they don't hate my picture choice. But here are the Medical Center Library librarians. So these are all of the people who are the liaisons to the different colleges, and our information is on the page, so that's why I didn't include any emails or anything. But specifically, if you want to talk to your liaison, here we are with our specific colleges. So very exciting, very cool. I'm at the bottom here. Yeah, very cool, very exciting. Okay, so if you have any questions, like I said, please feel free to talk to your liaison or just email the MCL IB email for any more generic questions. So you have access to tons of really cool people who know lots of really interesting things. So if you need to talk to anyone, please do. Okay, and then like I said, we'll probably get out of here in the next like 5 minutes. So I'm going to do a really fast little live demonstration on some of the things we talked about. So to get to the Medical Center Library page, you can just Google UKY MCL, Medical Center Library, whatever you want, but bookmark this. So on the machine that you plan on doing most of your research, I always recommend bookmarking this page. So here it is. There's our hours. Here's the databases, guides, journals, research workshop series, and then the Ask a Medical Librarian. We have a PubMed search bar here, but you can just also Google PubMed and get there. And then here are all of our buttons. So if you wanted to request a literature search, you click here. And then you fill out this lovely form, and it will go to the person who is your liaison librarian. So very cool. It always finds the right home. Same with the teaching support and systematic reviews. So very cool stuff. Let me get to the journals. So one of the things I said I would show you all is the Browzine feature. So when you click on Health Sciences Journals, it takes you immediately to the Biomedical and Health Sciences page. Very cool. And then it has all of this stuff here. So I'm the public health librarian. I'm going to scroll down to the public health option. And then you can see that there are even more features embedded within like the genre. So if I wanted to look at mental and social health, click here, and then there are all of those journals that we have access to. So for some reason, you've never heard of social health and behavior. You can click on that and kind of see when the last article came out, so 2020, who the authors are. And then you can actually either just download the PDF from here. It will try to find it. Interesting. Okay, I'm not sure about this. There we go. Okay, so here's the PDF of the article, but you can also save it to your articles, which means you'll have to log in. So I'm going to log into my account really fast, if it will let me. There we go. So you can save it. I have public health and then general collection, so I'll just save it to both. And then you can actually add the whole journal to your bookshelf by clicking add to my bookshelf, and then going up, clicking my bookshelf, and then seeing where everything is. So I've created a few bookshelves here: environmental health, health services research, and then it moved this social health and behavior one up here. So I'm going to actually drag and drop that to health behavior. And there we go. The articles you saved are also in here. So here are some of the other ones I've just saved. Public health practice and health equity. So if I wanted to read that, I could just download the PDF. Even though I added this article probably months ago, I could go back and read it now because I have it saved. I also have it on my phone. So if you want to get the app, we have instructions on the accounts to set up page, and you can get in and then sign in, and then all of this stuff will connect. So sometimes if you feeling fun, you can just lay in bed and read an article. It's definitely something I've done before. It's not the coolest, but I think it's fun. So there's that. Let's go back to the medical library page. The last thing I'm going to show you all is how to sign in to PubMed using your ORCID or account or whatever. So I'm just going to click advanced search. I'm going to click here, PubMed homepage. You'll select login. And then let's see. So when you log in for the first time, you'll see a bunch of options. You do not have to create an ORCID account to get into PubMed. I just think it's easier. But if you have a Microsoft or Google account, you can link those two. Totally fine. These bottom two, I don't think they work very well, so I wouldn't recommend using either of these. I'm going to click ORCID. And it's going to take me here. So this is my actual ORCID login information. I'm just going to sign in. Maybe. No, it won't let me in. I love it when things happen. Okay. Well, not sure about this. Not sure what's going on here. It says I'm logged in. Okay, we'll try one more time. And if it doesn't work, just know that it usually does. It usually does work. Now I can't see anything. Okay. Log in one more time. Okay, well, I'm not sure this is going to work, which is really funny. Oops. Just know that it usually does, but we've actually been having some issues with our resources the past couple of days, so that might be part of it. Okay, so let me go back to the slides here, and then I'm going to leave this up, and then I think we're going to move on to questions. So thank you for attending today. If you have any questions, you can either unmute or drop it in the chat, but you can also just send an email to this email here or your librarian. Thank you so much.